Up next for our predictions, we've got the NFC and the AFC North. A lot of great teams in these divisions, arguably the two best divisions in all of the NFL. Let's get into it. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Bears Den, an NFL podcast with the Chicago Bears First Focus. I'm your host, Alex, and here today we are predicting the NFC and the AFC North, how these teams are going to finish in their respective divisions, and who do we have making the playoffs from these divisions. Redoing this video because obviously we had a huge trade this past week with Micah Parsons going to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Huge trade obviously impacts the Green Bay Packers quite a bit, and so shifted up some of my predictions a little bit here. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with the NFC North. In fourth place, I have the Minnesota Vikings. And look, Minnesota Vikings, obviously, they won 14 games last year, won a ton of games. Sam Darnold played very, very well. Obviously, they got Justin Jefferson, who's arguably the best receiver in the entire league, and Jordan Addison, who's a really good number 2, who would probably be a number 1 on a fair amount of teams. I think they're going to take a step back this year. They have J.J. McCarthy. We're going to see how he does. Didn't play a ton in college, right? Obviously, he's a national champion. Can't put that aside at all. I'm an Ohio State fan, so it bothers me to say that. But they got it done, him and Jim Harbaugh, right? And this is essentially his rookie year, right? Only played a couple preseason games last year and then was out for the year. There's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some ups and downs. I think, obviously, really great coach in Kevin O'Connell. Their success really is decided by what type of quarterback J.J. McCarthy is going to be. If he can come out here and he can light it up and he can protect the football, they could do better than I'm predicting. I just think that there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some struggles. Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 4 weeks, I believe, and so that hurts, right? You have a starting quarterback coming in, a young quarterback making his first starts, and he's not going to have his wide receiver 2 for the first 4 weeks. That hurts, right? So defenses are going to be able to put, their top guy, their top 2 guys on Justin Jefferson, really lock him down, and then we'll see how JJ does with there. But good roster, good head coach. I think there's still going to be a decent team. This is a really tight division, right? But unfortunately, someone has to finish last. I have the Minnesota Vikings. At number 3, I have the Chicago Bears, and I have the Chicago Bears making the playoffs, right? So I have 3 teams coming out of the NFC North making the playoffs this year. Similar to last year, right? Caleb was good last year, right? And I'm not going to sit here and act like he wasn't, right? 3,500 plus yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks in a dumpster fire organization. We know, right? Dumpster fire coaching, Matty Eberflus botching multiple games, costing his team multiple games, the Tyreek Stevenson incident. I mean, remember, in that Hail Mary game, Caleb left the field with a win, or with a lead, right? So Caleb was good last year. The roster has improved. We obviously brought in the top coaching candidate in Ben Johnson. That's going to help Caleb even more. That's going to help the offense even more. Improved offensive line, that's huge, right? Obviously brought in Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney, and Drew Dahlman. That interior of the line is going to be extremely solid. They looked very, very good in the preseason. Kind of concerned at left tackle, right? That's why I kind of can't really put the Bears too much higher. The left tackle situation is scary. It's very scary now that Micah Parsons is in the division, right? Got to deal with Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson, and we have a big hole at left tackle. And then the defensive line, right? I think the defensive line is going to hinder the Bears from reaching their full potential this year. I think they're going to struggle to get rushes on the quarterback. They're going to struggle to get sacks unless Montez Sweat can return to peak form. The guy that we traded for, he had a really down year last year, right? So if he can bounce back, then maybe I'll feel better. But at this current state and what I saw from the starting defensive line in preseason, it's not good enough. So that's going to hinder them. But look, I think the Bears are going to probably finish with 10 or 11 wins, right? And that's going to be enough to get them a playoff seed. Probably the 6 or 7 seed. To be realistic, I would love better. I would love if the Bears win the division. We'll see. But as of right now, I have the Bears finishing 3rd in the NFC North, but making the playoffs. At number 2, I have the Green Bay Packers with Micah Parsons. Obviously, a huge add, a huge addition, really going to make their defense pretty scary, right? Matt LaFleur, I think his seat is somewhat warming up. I think that's why they made this trade. Kind of want to go all in and got to get some wins, right? They've been a good regular season team, but when they get to the playoffs under Matt LaFleur, it has not gone well, right? To me, the thing about Green Bay is the Micah Parsons trade is nice. It's going to get them some extra wins in the regular season, but I think their quarterback puts a hard cap on their ceiling. And look, if you're a Packers fan, you're going to say I'm biased. I get it. I try my best to be completely unbiased on this show, right? I don't think Green Bay at this current moment is good enough to be the 1 seed, right? Only the 1 seed gets a bye. And so then you're asking Jordan Love to, if you want to reach the Super Bowl, play 3 straight consistent good games, turnover-free games. And I don't think that's possible. And even if you were to get 3 straight games to get to the Super Bowl of good quarterback play, can you get 4 to win the Super Bowl, right? Can you get another game to win the Super Bowl? I don't think you can get that many weeks in a row of consistent Jordan Love football. And so for that reason, it puts a hard cap on their ceiling at second round max. I mean, we saw it, right? We saw it in the playoffs last year, throwing the ball to Philly a ton, right? We saw him end their season 2 years ago against San Francisco in the divisional round, throwing across his body in a triple coverage. When the pressure's up and Green Bay needs a big play, Jordan Love has yet to prove that he can do that. And so for that reason, I have them finishing second. I think they're going to win probably 12, 13 games. I think Micah Parsons is a huge addition and is going to really bolster that defensive line. And look, when you have a really good defensive line and you have an elite pass rusher, it improves your secondary, right? Because the secondary can play a little bit more aggressive on some of the routes. They're going to get some more picks as well. Their defense is going to be pretty good, pretty scary. Green Bay finishing second, making the playoffs. And at number 1, that leaves the Detroit Lions. And look, we're going to see how big of a step back they take with losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. We're going to see if it's really the Dan Campbell show or if it was the coordinators actually kind of leading the charge there. But they have the right to the division until otherwise, right? Their roster is extremely good. They have the 2-headed monster at running back with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jared Goff has been playing at an elite level really since he got to Detroit. And obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the better receivers in the league. And Jameson Williams, really good deep threat. And then they've got Aiden Hutchinson, who is an elite pass rusher. He's coming back. It's a really good roster. We're going to see how they're impacted by the coordinator change. But, if Goff can continue playing at the level he has played at, they're going to be good. I think they're going to win the division. If Goff relied heavily on Ben Johnson and the offensive coordinator situation in Detroit isn't that good, then maybe Goff takes a step back and maybe Detroit struggles. But we'll see. But they've earned the right to be the favorites in this division, and I do believe their roster is strong enough for them to win the NFC North this year. So, to sum it up, I've got the Minnesota Vikings finishing 4th, missing the playoffs, Chicago Bears finishing 3rd, making the playoffs, Green Bay Packers 2nd, making the playoffs, and the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North. Let's get into the AFC North. All right, breaking down the AFC North, obviously, probably the best division in the AFC. You can make an argument for the AFC West now as well with how Denver and even the Raiders have improved, right? But we're talking about the AFC North here. At number 4, I have the Cleveland Browns in my notes here. I just have all LOL. Kind of a circus over there. I think Kevin Stefanski's probably on his way out after this year, unless they can get significant production from one of the rookie quarterbacks. Right? I just think, they're kind of in a quarterback hell right now. Joe Flacco's not going to finish the entire year, right? Whether it's his age or injury, or they're probably just going to, give both the rookies a chance at some point too, because let's be honest here, the Browns are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and they're going to have a high draft pick, and they're going to want to see if Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders can play, because if not, they're going to be drafting a quarterback in the first round in this upcoming season. Obviously, you have Myles Garrett. He's a great player on a big contract, and that's really about it for the Cleveland Browns. So Cleveland Browns finishing 4th in the division. Number 3, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers' final year, most likely. How is he going to look? How is he going to look with DK Metcalf it's a, you know, we haven't really seen Aaron Rodgers with a receiver like this before, right? Like Devontae Adams was always kind of a surgical route technician type receiver where you could do a lot of different timing routes and things like that. And DK Metcalf's not really that type of receiver. He's more of a go ball, a deep threat, kind of go get it type of guy. And so it'll be interesting to see their connection. What's the impact going to be there? Is this going to be Pittsburgh's first losing season? Potentially. I think they're going to finish around that 8-9 win mark. So they're going to, it's going to be close to potentially being their first losing season under Mike Tomlin. The QB play last year was average with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, right? I don't think you're getting a significant upgrade at all with Aaron Rodgers. There could be an argument that the QB play will actually be worse this year. So Pittsburgh's going to be a team that might get some big wins against some big teams, but they're also going to, they're the team I think that's going to be kind of losing to some teams that they probably shouldn't be losing to. Like, if the Cleveland Browns took a game off Pittsburgh this year, that would not surprise me, right? It would not shock me at all. If Myles Garrett's able to kind of traumatize and terrorize Aaron Rodgers and they can't really do much on offense, and then, it's just kind of like a low-scoring defensive battle and the Browns kind of steal it, that wouldn't surprise me, right? But I have Pittsburgh missing the playoffs. And number 2, the Cincinnati Bengals. I have them making the playoffs. They've missed the playoffs the last 2 years. And look, they got a lock in here. Elite offense, historical level offense last year. They had a quarterback throw for 4,500 yards in Joe Burrow. They re-signed Trey Hendrickson to a 1-year deal, which is a little bit strange. If you're Trey Hendrickson, why are you accepting that deal? If you want long-term security, why are you taking a 1-year deal? Because 1 year from now, we're going to be doing the same little dance, right, with the contract situation. But got him re-signed. He'll be playing for this year, so that's huge for the defense. It all depends on the defense, right? The defense was historically bad last year. Can they? They got a new defensive coordinator. Can they fix the issues that they had last year? Can they just be average? I think with this offense, Cincinnati's offense is probably going to be top 3 in the league, right? If the defense can just be in the top 20, they're Super Bowl contenders, right? But if their defense is going to be the worst in the league like it was last year, no chance. So it all hinges on the defense. Obviously, we know how good the offense is with Chase Brown and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow, right? Like, they're going to light it up. They're going to put points on the board. Can the defense just kind of hold it down enough? We'll see. But I have Cincinnati making the playoffs as the 2nd seed in the North. And that leaves the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North. They're the best team in the division, the best roster, best all-around roster, I should say. And Lamar has been playing at an elite to historic level really his entire career, right? Like, the best winning percentage out of a quarterback ever in the regular season. Him paired with Derrick Henry, even though Derrick Henry is starting to get up there in age, it's just so dangerous, and they're going to be extremely good. They're going to win a lot of games. And the question really with the Ravens is, when are we going to start performing in the playoffs, right? When is Lamar going to get it done? Because Lamar played pretty well in the playoffs last year, right? If you think about it, he threw the touchdown late in that game and it was dropped, right? Or the 2-point conversion, whatever it was. The Ravens are a team that's always in that Super Bowl bubble every single year. Will they be able to get it done in the playoffs? We'll see. But, as long as everyone stays healthy, I think they're going to be, contending for the 1 seed in the AFC for sure. So to sum up the AFC North, Browns 4th in the AFC North. 3rd, the Pittsburgh Steelers missing the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. Number 2, the Cincinnati Bengals making the playoffs, and Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North. Those are my predictions for the AFC and NFC North. I appreciate you guys as always. Hit that subscribe button down below if you enjoyed this video, and give this video a thumbs up. Really helps me out. We're growing the channel here. This is going to be a great year 2 for the channel. And football is just 4 days away, with Dallas and Philly opening up the season at the time of recording. I'm not sure when this video will go up. But yeah, I appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you in the next video. Bear down. Peace.